Hello, everyone. Welcome to Jamaica 411. Thank you so much for stopping by. For our new visitors, my goodness, thank you so much for being with us today. I'm going to ask you to share this video as well as like and subscribe. For my regular visitors and my regular subscribers who are here with me every time I upload a video, thank you so much for supporting the channel. Thank you so much for sharing, for subscribing, for commenting, all when you cuss me. I thank you all the same. And I also appreciate and love you all. Now, what it is I'm going to bring to you now. I think I am going to bring to you some clarity to what is attempting to confusing everybody. So we're going to try and see if we can unravel what has been happening with this Integrity Commission and Auditor General reports going to the Parliament and so on. So what I have for you today, you've been hearing about the ruling of the Speaker, which was made on November 7. And you'd have heard the Speaker upbraiding the clerk. For what reason, I don't know. Because the clerk is doing her job following the law, which is when the reports come in, she's to submit it to the Speaker, and then it goes wherever it needs to go after that. But I am sure we are in for some exciting moment when the clerk prepares that schedule of when reports were submitted since the Speaker became Speaker, which would have been September 26, 2023. She's asking the clerk to prepare a schedule of all the reports that came in and the date when they were submitted to her and the date and when it was tabled. It would be very interesting to see and hear that schedule, because I suppose she's trying to defend herself from all the allegations that she's trying to hide documents. But when it comes to what is happening now, in order for us to understand, so that we can be clear as to, we're not going to look at it now in terms of who is speaking the truth and who is not speaking the truth. We're going to go back a little in history to see if we can discover what is the cause of the current cascas. Now, for us to understand, we have to go back to Marissa Dalrymple Filbert speakership when she was Speaker of the House. Now remember, she became Speaker, I believe, in 2020 when the JLP secured the majority in the House. And maybe before that, but when she was Speaker, she was carrying out the job of receiving reports in the self-same manner that all the speakers before her were doing. That is what the parliamentarians are accustomed to. All of a sudden, in July of last year, she decided that she wasn't following the rules, and now she's going to be following the rules. At the time when she made that decision, there were two reports that came into Parliament. One of them concerned an allegation of conflict of interest, corruption, and irregularities in relation to the acquisition of shares in a company called First Rock Capital Holdings Limited, and it was the Airports Authority of Jamaica and Norman Manley International Airport Limited, apparently, that bought the shares. And the second report was the Integrity Commission's annual report. Those were the two reports. Now, naturally, when Dalrymple decided to make this sudden about turn about how she's carrying out her function as Speaker, the opposition became suspicious and wonder what going on so. So they now began to hone in on this First Rock Capital Holdings Limited shares, supposing that the government was trying to hide something that was embarrassing to them in the acquisition of these shares. Well, they were quite wrong. That was not the reason why Dalrymple decided to make a change as to what she was doing. No, that wasn't it at all. They found out that that wasn't it. Or they decided perhaps it wasn't it when they discovered what it was that the annual report from the IC said. And remember, it was in that report that there was a mention that the Integrity Commission was investigating 6 parliamentarians for illicit enrichment. The opposition decided, but they sound like it more exciting and interesting. Having gone on this and asked their members and found out it's not none of them that was being investigated. They decide that this must be it. The government is trying to hide who these persons were. Well, guess what? That wasn't it. That was not what was motivating Dalrymple at all. What was motivating her was the other investigations in the same report. And that was the investigation of 7 parliamentarians who they said made false statements on their statutory declaration. That was the one that Dalrymple was interested in, because 2 months later, the Integrity Commission ruled that she should be charged for having made false statements on her statutory declaration. So that was the one that she was trying to delay, because she couldn't stop the report. So she was trying to delay as much as possible the inevitable, which came in September. She had to resign. Now, when she resigned and Juliet Holness took over, she decided that she was going to follow suit. What was she trying to follow suit? She was trying to follow suit on what was clearly what Dalrymple said. When Dalrymple was trying to delay the report of the Integrity Commission's annual report, which contained the information that she was one of them who would have been on the investigation. She probably thought that her name was mentioned. It wasn't, not at the time. She had gone to the Attorney General, which is the government's attorney, and asked the Attorney General, I'm putting 2 and 2 together now, asked the Attorney General, what can we do? And I'm sure her side never know why she was doing all the things that she was doing. I don't think they knew that she was on the investigations. So the Attorney General went and looked at the rules and found, oh, well, guess what? You guys have not been following the rules, no. What you've been doing when you get these reports and sending it directly to the Parliament, and also it's supposed to go, the ones coming from the Integrity Commission should have been tabled first and then go to the Oversight Committee before you lay them on the House of Representatives. And then she took that, this is Dalrymple, and attempted to delay the report. Here's the foolish thing. Once it is tabled in the House, which was on the 11th of July, the Integrity Commission immediately put it up on their website. So even if the parliamentarians didn't have it laid out before them in Parliament, they just go on the Integrity Commission's website and saw what the report said. That's where they got the information from. So Dalrymple had gotten the legal opinion from the Attorney General about how she should proceed. That is what you hear Mark Golding keep asking about. He wants to know what was the legal opinion from the Attorney General, which they are trying to use to what he believed is delaying the report from coming directly from the Speaker and to the parliamentarians. Now, that is not what is really important. What is really important is whether or not they are actually following the rules as they claim they are. So when Juliet Holness became Speaker, she too decided that she is going to follow the rules and submit the reports according to what the rules say. Now, I am going to check the rules myself and read it for you at the end to see if they are right or they're making up stories. But, as I said, the problem is though, if they are indeed following the rules, what it is that the opposition should do, if they are following the rules and the rules are cumbersome or the rules are not appropriate for the times, or you think that it will delay the process, the thing for you to do is to go into the parliament and move a motion to have that section of the Standing Order 73D amended or repealed. That's the thing to do. For the opposition to be coming out into the public and telling us, yes, you're raising awareness, but coming out and telling us doesn't change the price of cheese. The cheese price still high. So what they need to do, if they really genuinely believe that this ought not to be done the way how it is being done according to the law, which they must go and read to see if it's so, and if it's so it go, and they believe that these reports should come to Parliament immediately, the only way that that can change, since the Speaker is determined that she is going to follow that rule, the only way that they can change it is to go into the Parliament and move a motion to have it replaced. Even the Speaker telling them that that is the only way. She follow the rule. You want the rule change, you need to go and put it before the House. And we alone can change it. That is true. Coming to the public and going all over the damn place, telling people must change this and this is not right, and the Speaker is trying to hide information. No, 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 Mark. No, Julian. That is not the way you do parliamentary work. We did not send you to Parliament to come out and just make us aware of what is going on. We send you to Parliament to make the rules right. If you disagree with the rules, you have to move the motion in the House and have it changed. And if after how many months from November, December, January, February, 4 months of you recognizing that the rules that the Speaker read to the House is not in keeping with good governance, what have you done about it? Have you gone to the House and moved a motion for it to be replaced? And if you have not done so in 4 months, why haven't you done so? Are we supposed to take you seriously? Then if you want us to take you seriously, go to the Parliament and move the motion to have section 73D of the Standing Orders repealed or amended. Simple. Now, there's something else we need to take into consideration. I'm not going to be able to read you the rules. I'll probably do a part 2 to this one and read the rules there because this is already long. There's something else to consider. What if the opposition is right? And these rules that the Speaker is speaking of and the legal opinion she sought and received from the Attorney General is not right. What if it's incorrect? Then the thing for them to do is to go and challenge it in the courts. Challenge it in the courts. Or go to the House and amend the section that I described, section 73D of the Standing Orders. Those are the two options. So after 4 months, if you're still not prepared to do that, we can't take you seriously. Now I'm going to let you hear Malahoo Fort first up. The order in which the presentation was done, the Speaker had spoken first and lay out the law and the ruling, and Malahoo Fort actually came after. But because Malahoo Fort explained the law so well, I decided to put her first so you can understand what she's saying, and then I'll let the Speaker now get into the nitty-gritty of the law. Then you will hear presentations from Julian Robinson, Lisa Hanna, and then you can decide now if you disagree with me or you agree with me that if the law says what the Speaker says it says, then the opposition, if they think that it should be changed or it should not say that, rather than insisting that the Speaker should do what they want the Speaker to do, which is to breach the law according to the Speaker, the solution is to go into the Parliament and change the rules. Do you agree with me? Tell me in the comment section. In the meantime, I want you to listen. And I want you to listen all the way through. Even if you have to come back, please listen all the way through so you don't miss anything. Because this is very, very important. It concerns the running of our country. and the Parliament is where the laws are made. So it's important that you understand what is going on. So please listen.
You know, Madam Speaker, for every year when I was in the role of Attorney General, I took time to point out the critical importance of accuracy and reading the law every single year. One year, Minister Tufton, the honorable member from St. Catherine, West Central, asked me if I were looking to be fired. In fact, a member from that side also made the same comment. And I'm happy to be here in the House today to hear you as Speaker underscoring the importance of abiding by the law. Madam Speaker, let us begin with the standing orders. The standing orders are regulations of the Constitution of Jamaica. And the Constitution of Jamaica is our highest law. I know that many of the orders are honored in breach instead of observance, but I am very pleased to hear that you understand the importance of the standing orders. And that leads me to craving your indulgence just to point out to the House that the question about whether a report from the Integrity Commission is to be considered by the Integrity Commission Oversight Committee is answered at Standing Order 73DE. And I just invite members' attention, and in particular the member who is also a member of the Oversight Committee, because that standing order, which speaks to the Integrity Commission Oversight Committee 73D, explicitly provides that the Integrity Commission Oversight Committee shall have the duty of convening and considering a report submitted to Parliament under Section 36 of the Integrity Commission Act. And it goes on to say that it is to be done within 30 days of the submission of the report. And just by way of reminder, Madam Speaker, that provision of the Integrity Commission Act speaks to all of the reports from the Commission. It begins with the reports that the Parliament reports on matters referred to it from the Parliament, investigating an act of corruption. It speaks to the annual report of the Integrity Commission, and it also speaks to other sets of reports. So the Commission may at any time be required by either House of Parliament to investigate a matter. When it is reported, that matter, that report can go to the Integrity Commission Oversight Committee. The Commission shall, no sooner than 3 months after the end of each financial year and within such longer period as the Parliament may approve, submit to the Parliament its annual report. Those may go to the Integrity Commission Oversight Committee. And then the Commission may at any time submit a report relating to any particular matter which, in the opinion of the Commission, requires the special attention of the Parliament. All of those are Section 36 matter, which the standing order says the Integrity Commission Oversight Committee has a duty to consider, Madam Speaker. And I think we don't have to quarrel because the law is publicly promulgated. This is not something that is being made up overnight. And the standing orders guide the proceedings in the House. So I think, Madam Speaker, that we don't have to continue to quarrel. Sending a report in accordance with the rules to the committee is not delaying it. And you know, Madam Speaker, that leads me to the comment that was made about taking the time to read matters before they are placed on the floor of the House. Again today, I could almost shout hallelujah, because in my former role, I complained so much that not sufficient attention was placed to ensuring that the matters tabled in the Parliament were read and accurate. And there are many examples and moments when material had to be pulled from the Parliament because of inaccuracy. And so it should never be seen as an attempt to delay any matter, because an opportunity is being taken to read the matter to ensure that as a presiding officer, you know what is coming before the House. In fact, you would be derelict in your duty if it were otherwise, Madam Speaker. And that leads me to the third matter, and that is the matter of the reports of the Auditor General. I remind everyone, maybe there is no need for reminder, that the Auditor General, the Office of Auditor General, is a constitutional office pursuant to Section 120, subsection 1 of the Constitution of Jamaica. And under Section 122, subsection 2, the Auditor General is mandatorily required to submit her annual audit reports of specified entities. And the Constitution specifies those entities, and they include, but are not limited to, the accounts of all departments and the offices of the Government of Jamaica, including the offices of the Cabinet and the 3 Services Commission: Judicial, Police, and Public Service. And, Madam Speaker, the Constitution says that the reports are to go to the Speaker, who shall cause them to be laid before the House of Representatives. The Auditor General is also empowered to perform other functions in relation to the accounts of the Government of Jamaica and the accounts of other public authorities and other bodies administering public funds in Jamaica, as may be prescribed by or under any other law. You know, Madam Speaker, I was smiling when I heard you explain the difference, because many parliamentarians do not know that there is central government and there is the rest of government, and what comprises. Madam Speaker, Madam Speaker, Madam Speaker, before anyone comes down.
Please allow the member to speak. The member is actually very correct. I have been at committee meetings of the PAAC, where the permanent secretaries are being badgered to comment on public bodies that do not report to them, that they have no idea about. And it is a big part of the reason why the reassessment was done of what was the intent of the legislators. Member Malafort.
Madam Speaker,
Minister, go ahead, please.
I don't wish to lose the point I want to make. The point is that the Auditor General is mandated to make reports pursuant to the Constitution. And the Constitution also permits the Office of Auditor General to perform other functions in relation to the accounts of the Government of Jamaica and the accounts of other public entities, and in fact, even entities outside of Jamaica. And that is pursuant to any other law in force. And that leads me to 2 such laws, Madam Speaker, that you refer to: the Financial Administration and Audit Act and the Public Bodies, the PBMA. Madam Speaker, Part 4 of the FAA speaks to audits, and in particular, sections 29 and 30 speaks to the report of the Auditor General. And I wonder, Madam Speaker, whether the reports sent to Parliament indicate under which section the Auditor General is performing her functions. And though I am not
I will answer, member, the question when you're through.
If the reports do not, Madam Speaker, may I respectfully suggest for your consideration that in your role as Speaker, you ask that going forward, the Auditor General specify under which section the report is being submitted. And the reason for that, Madam Speaker, is that different things flow, different obligations arise depending on the section under which the report is being submitted. So for those who would take the time to look at section 29 of the FAA, that's the Financial Administration and Audit Act, the Auditor General is mandated to report under that section, Madam Speaker. And when the report gets to the Parliament, those reports are to be laid as soon as possible. And I don't think as soon as possible would be delayed by the Speaker or any of the parliamentary staff reading and ensuring that what is to be placed before the House is properly before the House. But you know, Madam Speaker, there is section 30, under which the Auditor General may also perform functions and submit a report. And the point you made about understanding which accounts and which bodies are being audited is a critical point. Because if it is a public body, Madam Speaker, the Auditor General, once she exercises the discretion given to her to act under that section, she is obliged to do certain other things. And I believe that is where the contention has been, Madam Speaker. But you know, natural justice requires that you do not come to an adverse conclusion without giving an opportunity to the person being investigated to be heard. And also for the good management of the affairs of Jamaica, it is essential that the matters specified in section 30 of the FAA be complied with. And so, Madam Speaker, I suggest for your consideration and to take the noise away from this, that you ask that going forward, the section under which the reports are being submitted be specified. And where a matter is coming under section 30 of the FAA, please note that unless and until the matters specified in the section are complied with, such a report is not to come to the Parliament. And that is not hiding anything, that is not obstructing justice, but it is what is required. And God forbid, if we parliamentarians cannot respect the law, then who else will? The last matter before I take my seat, Madam Speaker. I hear the request for the opinion of the Attorney General's chambers to be shared. I should like to say that as a general rule, there is no requirement for anyone who seeks the opinion of the chambers for guidance to share it, as a general rule. And some may disagree with me because of the subject matter in question, but the general rule stands. If you as Speaker needs guidance and you seek guidance, there is nothing which says that you must share the guidance, as a general rule. In this specific matter, however, your predecessor in office indicated that she was awaiting further details. And you yourself, Madam Speaker, indicated that you would be guided by it. For my part, I can't see anything that could not be shared. But I think it is important that should you choose to share it, it is not taken to be a precedent to expect that in every case where advice is sought, there is any obligation to share it. So in respect of reports from the Auditor General, if the reports are under 29, they are to be tabled after you have satisfied yourself that the matter is properly to come before the House. And if they are under 30, you're also to satisfy yourself that what is set out in the section has been complied with, Madam Speaker.
As Speaker of this Honourable House, I note the public commentary in some quarters regarding the role of the Speaker in tabling certain documents and the role of Parliament in addressing these matters. There is an untrue narrative of deliberate delay in tabling reports sent to this House. The fact is, there are no reports, not one report, either from the Integrity Commission or the Auditor General's Department, which have not been tabled. Additionally, all reports were tabled as prescribed at the soonest possible time. My predecessor made certain pronouncements on the tabling of reports from the Integrity Commission and the Auditor General's Department for public bodies, which, as Speaker, I have reviewed and must address. It is expected as legislators, we should have a sound understanding of the law, as it is us who craft, debate, and pass the laws which govern us. It is also my understanding that when the court is interpreting the law, the very court may review the records of Hansard to see what the intention of the Parliament was at the time of enactment and amendment. Honorable members, I did a comprehensive review of the correspondence, had extensive discussions with the Clerk of the Houses, consulted with the Chief Parliamentary Counsel and speakers from other Commonwealth jurisdictions. It must be made clear that the advice received is not instruction. It is meant to guide the decisions of the House and meant to inform the actions of the Speaker. Therefore, the opinion or advice doesn't absolve the Speaker or the House from a duty to clearly understand the legislation and the standing orders in a manner that is consistent with its own legislative jurisdiction and wisdom. The opinion of the Parliamentary Legal Counsel, which considered all correspondence between the Parliament and the Attorney General and the Auditor General, is available for your perusal. Members, based on some utterances, there seems to be a clear misunderstanding of the legislation in respect of the distinction between ministries, departments, and agencies versus public bodies. It is important that it is understood that the entities are different. For our benefit, here are some of the key differences. While the Auditor General is mandated by legislation, and the Constitution so mandates that the Auditor General audits central government, which include MDAs, public bodies by law engage their own auditor. The Attorney General, while being the chief legal advisor to the government, for public bodies, they engage their own attorneys. Similarly, it is important to note public bodies do not report to permanent secretaries in ministries, as obtains or applies for ministries, departments, and agencies. Instead, public bodies have their own CEO and a board which manages these entities and report directly to their responsible minister. I do hope this provides some clarity. The ruling is as follows. Reports from the Integrity Commission. It is my considered view that reports submitted to the Parliament under Section 36 and 54 of the Integrity Commission Act should be treated as indicated here. A report made on the request of the House of Parliament under Section 36(1). This report will be tabled as soon as possible, as the nature of the report is that it's a request from the Houses of Parliament. It will require the quick action of the members of the House of Representatives once it is submitted for tabling. After it is tabled, it is then to be directed to the attention of the Integrity Commission Oversight Committee in keeping with the Standing Orders 73DE. Annual reports submitted under Section 36(2). Once the report is submitted to Parliament, it will be sent to the Integrity Commission Oversight Committee for consideration and report. Once the committee has completed its deliberation, both the reports of the committee and the relevant report from the Integrity Commission will be tabled thereafter. Special reports submitted under 36(3) will be treated in the same manner as a report under 36(2), referenced above. Reports of the Director of Investigations submitted under Section 54(4) will be tabled as soon as possible after receipt by the Parliament, having regard to the serious nature of the matters that are contained therein. It will require the immediate and direct attention of the House. After it is tabled, it will then be submitted to the Integrity Commission Oversight Committee for their consideration and report. Kindly note, all reports from the Integrity Commission will be reviewed by the officers before they are tabled, and it will be tabled in the soonest possible time. No effort will be made to delay such reports. The ruling reports from the Auditor General Department on Public Bodies. Ruling is as follows. Reports from the Auditor General's Department on Public Bodies will be tabled in keeping with the Public Bodies Management and Administration Act, enacted 2001 under Section 13A and or Section 30 of the Financial Administration and Audit Act. Particularly of interest is its amendment in 1992, which recognized public bodies. Such reports must be submitted in keeping with the procedure outlined therein and also provided in Section 13B of the Public Bodies Management and Accountability Act and Sections 31 of the Financial Administration and Audit Act. Members, the discussions in this Honorable House underscore the need for consistent assessment of legislations with a view to amending where necessary, where clarity is further required. Also, it is critical for the Standing Orders Committee to undertake a comprehensive review of these standing orders with a view to making the suggested amendment for debate and approval by this House to enhance the effectiveness and efficiency of written rules. Members, I think that the rules which govern us are within our purview to amend as a parliament as we see fit so that we are all clear in respect of the understanding thereof. I have made available copies which will be sent around in respect of the opinion given.
Speaker, thank you. I'm seeking clarity on a couple of matters. First, you indicated that the officers would review reports from the Integrity Commission. Could you indicate who those officers are and what the purpose of the review would be before the reports are tabled? That's first. Secondly, you said annual reports would be sent to the Oversight Committee and special investigative reports before they are tabled. I'd like to understand the rationale for that vis-a-vis other reports from the Integrity Commission, which would be sent directly to the Speaker and be tabled. My understanding of the role of the Oversight Committee is that the Oversight Committee would be outside the scope of the Oversight Committee to opine on an annual report or even a special investigative report. So I'm trying to understand what the rationale is for sending it there first before it is tabled here. Those are my questions, preliminary.
I'm going to answer your question first. I don't know that you have read or listened to the ruling. Reports submitted in the way you have asked are reports under Section 54. And Section 54 has those reports being tabled first in the Parliament at the soonest possible time and then subsequently sent to committee. The rulings, as you have heard them today, is based on, let me repeat, the Act, Integrity Commission Act, the FAA Act, the Public Bodies Management and Accountability Act, the Standing Orders, and a comprehensive review of all, including the opinions submitted from the Attorney General's Chamber, the Parliamentary Legal Counsel. In respect of who will read the report, I do not recall your second two questions. I indicated to the Parliament before, and I hold that view. The officer reading the report would be the Speaker, as in the case of the lower house, or the President in the case of the upper house. The intent is not to read for any purpose more than to appreciate what it is that you are signing to be tabled in Parliament. Every single thing that is on the agenda for Parliament, every item, every question asked, every bill, every motion, every single thing that is placed on the agenda, the Speaker in the case of the lower house and the President in the case of the upper house is required to appreciate that they are placing on the agenda. No, so there's nothing that the Speaker or the President can do with the report. And in some cases, there are other things on the agenda that the Speaker or President have the ability to make amendments on. What is required is that, as presiding officers, we follow the law. We obey the law. Now, I will not get into the discussions about media and at what point who have. What I would like to make absolutely clear is that the standing orders and the laws guide us. And therefore, the comment I made in terms of us as a parliament feeling that the legislation needs amendments, the standing orders need amendments, it is us who are required to do that work. The opinion I formed was a strongly formed one because it was supported in every way by the Attorney General's chamber and the Parliamentary Council, Legal Council as well. I do not know if there are any other.
Speaker, I'd asked 3 sets of questions.
I answered the first,
right.
So I'll get to the next one.
I asked what is the rationale for sending the annual reports and the special investigative reports to the committee before they are tabled in the House.
You may take your seat, member. The rationale is, it is the law and the standing orders. So the rationale is obeying what the instructions are in the law for the mechanism to be used by the Parliament. I read it, so please read section 36.1. Sir, yes, section 36.2, section 36.3, and 54. And I will also share the legal opinion. I cannot share what I have not read or appreciated. Member Hannah? Sorry.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I was seeking clarity, Madam Speaker, on the section that you read, where you were saying that the Parliament could amend the rules. I would just like you to read that section again for me, so I didn't hear it correctly or properly. And I have a follow-up question once you read it.
I indicated that some of the discussions we have had underscore the need for constant assessment of the legislations with a view to amending where we as the Parliament think necessary. It is also critical for us to look at the standing orders, have the committee meet and undertake a comprehensive review of these standing orders with a view to making the suggested amendments for debate in the House and approval by the House so that it enhances the effectiveness, the efficiency of the written rules that govern us here in the Parliament and guides the proceedings of this chamber.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and I appreciate the clarification. And there's no disagreement in terms, certainly from my position, in terms of wanting to review rules or legislation, because I don't think those things are static. And they shouldn't be, because what might have been relevant at a particular time might not be relevant to today. So I can appreciate that. My concern, however, and perhaps I am one of the few members in this House who many years ago had a report tabled from the Office of the Contractor General at the time, over 500 pages of a report. And at that time, the Speaker did not take particular positions, and it was tabled in a particular manner. So that is why I can say, and there was no wrongdoing in the report, anything. It just took a lot of my time, a lot of media time. And I think it is important that when people are being investigated, that certainly those of us who are in this House, because it can happen to perhaps any one of us as public officers. However, the point I would like to ask you, or the question I'd like to ask you, is at a time when politicians are seen as being, unfortunately, lumped as corrupt individuals. And it doesn't matter how hard we work, it doesn't matter what we do, it doesn't matter how many public things we file, all of us are lumped together. So if we are here,
let's not go.
All right, hang on. Members. So,
Members, please allow Member Hannah.
Madam Speaker.
Please allow Member Hannah to speak.
My major concern is that if we are now appearing as a parliament to suggest to the public that in issues of controversy or what might be deemed as controversial, that we will take the position to change rules to suit us, that might not go down well. So I just want you to...
I would like you to take note that your statement about changing rules is absolutely incorrect. The rules are actually not being changed. The rules are being... So it is not us who are changing rules, and I do not want you to give that impression to the public. We are not changing rules. I do not know of which report you speak, but in the past, I'm going to finish before you continue. I have to be careful about some things. You'd like to clarify? Go ahead, clarify.
Asked you to read it, and what I said, Madam Speaker, we can't appear to be giving that impression.
And I wouldn't want you to appear to even say it.
So that is why I'm saying I asked for clarity, because the public might get the impression that that is what, if we're going to be looking and reviewing at this particular time. That's why I'm asking you just to make it very clear.
All right. So, Member Hannah, you are correct. The indication that we should review, it is not with a view of my instructing that any changes be made in any rules. The reason I have said I believe it is important for us to continuously interrogate or review our legislations is that we may find subsequently that what was passed may not have been our intent. What was our intent is not the practice. And so we should always go back to look at the legislations. Equally, the standing orders, which are the rules that govern us, are not necessarily all written out in all respects. And there may be issues that come from time to time where the House feels that instead of leaving it for the Speaker to rule or the President to rule, the House would like to now apply a rule which the Speaker or the President would be obliged to function in that mechanism as stated in the standing orders. And so my comment is where we believe we need to strengthen the legislation, strengthen the standing order, it is our job to do so. As a matter of fact, I'll tell you that the Attorney General's last letter came yesterday. We were in Parliament until 1 o'clock this morning. reading and updating as a result of it. So no effort was made to delay anything at all in respect of this matter. I will not go further in that regard, because it cannot be expected that as Speaker, I will sit here and issue documents, do not read, do not understand, and be respected in governing the proceedings of this House. If the intention of the Parliament and the legislators at the time was to have all reports tabled immediately, it would have said that. The legislation said table in 31 and 54, subsection 4, in the soonest possible time. When the legislations are passed, it cannot be that we allow persons to think that in obeying the laws we are doing the wrong thing. We cannot cherry pick which laws we obey and which ones we are going to say it is not convenient to obey, so we are going to do something else. And so where we have had these issues, where, and I checked the Hansard, some previous speakers actually make no ruling. They just decide this makes sense and go ahead. I am making an effort to ensure that when history is written, this speaker does what is right in the sight of the law. I should indicate that not one audit of public bodies has ever been submitted to the Parliament under the section required either by the FAA Act or the Public Bodies Act. And it is particularly for this reason why the effort is being made to observe the law, observe the intention of the lawmakers, and to ensure that the law is applied accordingly. Members, I thank you for your intervention and contribution, which reaffirms the rulings today. I am convinced every one of us, all 63 of us in this Parliament, should be encouraged to read the legislations thoroughly when they come to this House. The Constitution of Jamaica and the standing orders that govern this House.
So there you have it, my viewers, my subscribers, my friends, my countrymen and women. There you have it. So I hope somehow I managed to clear up some of the, the issues, the confusion, because parliamentarians, they try their best to explain things, but they don't often succeed. So we have to try and see if we can help them along. So thank you so much again for joining me today. Thank you again for sharing, for subscribing, for liking, and of course for leaving your comments. So until next time, walk good.